Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. We're gonna do a little Going Ike raw for you today. It's fall. We've had a couple cool nights. If you look around behind me, man, you're gonna see the leaves changing. You're gonna see orange, brown leaves, red leaves. So we're getting cool nights. We've had a couple nights in the upper 40s. The water temperature has bumped way down. The water temperature was in the 80s all summer. Now it's down to the high 60s, right around 60, 67, 68 degrees. And we're just gonna go fishing. We're gonna fish the moment out here. You know, fall fishing means bait fish. So for sure today you're gonna see lures like a spinner bait and a rattle trap are gonna be high on my priority list. But also in the fall, the water can get clean. I've noticed the water's real clear and finesse fishing can be really good. So you might see a little micro jig, you might see some finesse plastics. Either way, we're gonna try to figure it out, do a little early fall fishing, see if we can catch some big bass. You ready? I'm ready. Come on, let's go. Makes sense, right? Fall fishing. You know, I don't know how many times I've said it. I feel like a damn broken record, but in the fall, there's one word, bait. Bait, 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 whatever the bait is. You know, in this lake, it's golden shiners, immature bluegill. We have some like river shiners in here. We have some small minnows. So, you know, you find the bait in the fall, you're gonna find the bass. That's just the bottom line. They are 100% driven by food this time of the year. So look, we look around, we know it's fall by looking at the trees, right? Fish can't see the trees, but the fish know what's coming. And one of the major clues in the fall is the water temperature. So, you know, when them fish feel that water temperature dropping, like I said, it was 80s all summer, high 80s. We're at 68.6 right now, okay? It's a big change in water temperature. When that water temperature drops, those fish know, and that's their clue to start feeding. So they know. They want bait, they want to eat, and I'll show you real quick, I'll show you one of the baits we're starting with, and the reason I'm doing it, it's such a good bait imitator. This is a vibrating bait, rattle bait. Some people call it a rattle bait. Some people call it a rattle trap. This one's actually a Rip and Wrap by Rapala. This is the 3/8 size, a little lighter. Listen to that, isn't that crazy? And look at the color, chrome gold back. So I mentioned there's golden shiners in here, right? Look at that imitation of a golden shiner or a little minnow. Look at the gold in there and the green. Here's the other great thing about this bait. Looks like a bait fish, attracts a reaction strike, but it covers a ton of water. And I'll show you here how I'm fishing a little bit. I'm making really long casts, I think bombs out there, and I'm using a yo-yo retrieve. So basically yo-yo is lift and fall, lift and fall. And you see I'm using my rod a lot, lift and fall, lift and fall. And every once in a while, you'll feel it get grass or the bottom. I snatch it real hard. Try to clear that grass off there. Doesn't happen every time, but if you feel like it's got some grass or seaweed on it, use your rod, really jerk it. See, that one I'll show you, I didn't clear it all off. There's a little grass on there. But that yo-yo retrieve and this bait, man, I can cover a ton of water, right? And we don't know what's going on out here yet. We got some ideas of what's going on, but this is a good bait to start with for sure. No bites. No bites. It's okay because we're covering water. We're looking. And bait is key in the fall, but I don't want you to discount finesse, okay? Don't discount finesse. The water's a little clean today. We've got wind, not a lot of wind. Here's the other thing. Not a cloud in the sky. This is a bluebird day. So this is one of my favorite finesse baits in the fall. This is a Missile Jigs micro jig. And I want you to see what I put on the back there. I just put a little piece of, that's a Berkley Power Bait General, little piece of 4-inch stick worm on the back. This is what I call a Ned rig on steroids. It really is. So you fish it like a Ned. It has characteristics of a Ned, but that skirt is really, really key. So I'm thinking bait fish. I want to cover water, but I want to try finesse. And what I'm fishing right here real quick, just to give you guys an idea, is there's some submerged brush piles out here. And I can see the tops of some of them. Like I see the top of that one. So they have the little bite. Okay, I just had a little bite, which is a good sign. That's probably bluegill or a crappie or something. That's a good sign. But I want to slow down. 20 casts, 30 casts with a rattle trap, no bites. Let's try finessing. Yep, another little bite. Okay, so what's telling me is there are tons and tons of bluegills, crappies, perch, panfish species around these brush piles. That's good. That's really good because we want to be around those things too, right? So, couple casts on this, had a couple panfish bites. That's all right. See if there's some bass lingering around that stuff. Aggressive too, the way they hit this little thing. But if there was a bass there, he would have ate it. One more cast. Really soak it in there this time. Oh, yeah, there's a bite. Small. I'm right in it. I'm in the heart of it right now. There he goes. He got me hung up though. Came off. That was probably a big crappie, to be honest with you. To be totally honest with you. It didn't feel, it was a big one, but it was probably like a 2-pound crappie. That was crazy. He just, and then stuck me in the brush. Oh, I forgot, I have the brush marked on this depth finder. Forgot about that. Little piece of something there I went over. It's when you expect to get railroaded and as you drifted over the top of that stuff. There's one. Real small though. But tells you a little about that micro jig though. It's a fish catcher. Look at that. It's a nice panfish there. That's on a micro jig, believe it or not. Look at that. That thing will catch everything that swims. But that's a pretty nice gill. Talk about palm-sized panfish. Look at that. Look at that. I got big hands. I got bigger hands than the Hulk. And that gives you an idea how big that panfish is. But it's a good sign. Around some fish. Tough bite so far. We've caught one bluegill, few little bites on a micro jig, nothing on a trap, nothing on a spinnerbait, nothing on a crankbait. The water's cleaned up. The water's cooled off. But we're seeing a lot of little bluegills. And when I have cleaner water, light wind, and I'm seeing bluegills, a swim bait's hard to beat. This is a 3/8 Berkeley Power Bait Power Swimmer. It's in a color called, I think they call it, let's say, Sungill. And just using a little, this is a 3/0 VMC swim bait hook. Weight it. It's got a little, look at that little belly weight, 1/8 ounce on it, no big deal. And we're gonna just see if we can match the forage and make the bait a little more subtle, right? A rattle trap, a crankbait, a spinnerbait, they're kind of noisy. So let's put on a swim bait. Swim bait is definitely, would be in my top 10 of fall baits, and it's more subtle. So you see that little 3/8? It's got that little boot tail, little tab tail. It's gonna have a subtle side to side, plus a little body roll. So let's see if we can switch to a swim bait and generate some bites. Because ain't nothing else working. I got a feeling about this though. All the bait we're seeing in that size category too, you know. I just like this because it's more subtle. You know, it's like the other day, a lot of wind. Dirty water. Today, clean water, less wind. Feels more like a swim bait day. Boy, that thing looks good in the water. Wow. Here he goes. There's a bass. I mean, we just started throwing this. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, that's fish in the moment right there. Okay. Not a big one, but the first one of the day. I mean, we literally just talked about it. Look at that. He's like laying on the packaging. Our first sign of the day, just fishing the moment. Nice little keeper bass. Look at that thing. It's about 13-incher, real fat fish, beautiful fish. Here's the thing. You don't believe me that this is fall fishing? If you don't believe me by looking at the trees and the water temperature gauge, I wish you were here to feel this fish. Dude, this fish is cold. He's cold. Like I'm putting my hand up against this fish. This fish feels like a trout. That's how cold he is. So, you know, this is fall. But if you look at that fish, dude, you know what he's got on his mind. And that is feeding up in the fall. Bait, bait, bait. I can't say it over and over enough. Bait is key in the fall. We did a little matching the hatching. Look at that. Match the hatch. Looking like a little bluegill. And there's our first bass of the day. Come on, let's go. All right. We're fishing a swim bait. This is a Berkley power bait, 3/8 sungill, a power swimmer, 3/0 VMC, 1/8 ounce weighted hook, 12-pound line, medium heavy rod. And I just got my second bite of the day and I missed it. And it was when I paused. So even though this is a swim bait, right? I think too many people get in the habit of just slow reeling it the whole way back. But pauses, even a little rod jerk, very important. Just like other baits, you want to change the cadence, right? They're the cues. You got to imagine that fish following that swim bait. Everything's steady. Had another bite. That was a small one, but it had a bite. Everything's slow and steady. The bait stops. It's a natural clue to hit that fish. So even though it's a swim bait, I don't want you to reel it steady. I want you to put pauses into it, little rod pops, and they're going to be the times when you get a lot of your bites. A lot of your bites are going to come on those pauses. There he goes. Big one. On a pause. Good. Oh, it's the wrong species, but it's a big one. I hurt my finger on the hook side. Yeah. All right, there's our second fish on that power swimmer. It's not a bass. It's a chain pickerel, aka Slimer. But listen, that's a good sign. We're doing the right thing. Pickerel feed on the same thing as bass. Broke the line as I flipped it in because of his teeth, but there's that Berkley power swimmer, bluegill color, right? Matching the hatch. Fall is all about bait. And there's a really nice pickerel. Wouldn't count in the tournament, but I'll take it. That's a good one. Oh wait, I ain't kissing that fish. His teeth are too big.